Remy Rowe, and you watching Hip Hop His Story, and this one is mine. My name is Remy Rowe, and I'm from Tampa, Florida. I got started with hip hop early on in the 90s with some friends from high school. We started out, selling mixtapes and, doing the DJs and DJing parties and things like that, and then it just evolved from there. My first experience with hip hop was, it was so new and just a breath of fresh air to it. Was, I knew from right away when I first got into it that this was something that I would be doing for a long time, the way I gravitated and picked up on it. So Jolly Boy was my introduction to hip hop, and Jolly was a DJ before he got into rapping, and we used to make these tapes, and 60-minute, 90-minute tapes. We would do little freestyles, and this was in an era where you couldn't stop the tape and go back and rewind. So your freestyle game had to be almost immaculate and on point. So and I used to be shy when it came to getting on the mic back then. They used to have to beg me. But then, I sat down and honed in on my craft and got nice with my pen. My penmanship got nasty. So I just took it from there and just started getting better and better and better. I want to shout out Stacy, E.O. She, rest in peace. First producer that ever put me actually in a studio. First studio record I ever recorded, Melodies of Mayhem. That was like my taste of just making a record. Being in the studio, going in the booth, recording, hearing myself. So that was what, 1997, 98-ish, somewhere around that time. And then from there, I just took it to a whole nother level. I invested in my own production equipment. I learned how to produce myself. Me and Jolly ended up going more serious about it. He ended up going pro with the Detroit Lions. So he actually made the label a legit label, 15 Entertainment. I'm sorry, Jolly Boy Entertainment. And from there, we turned it up a notch. We had the capital, we had the revenue to invest in ourselves. So, we went from being, local, just doing this in our homeboy back room to now we got our own studio. Now we flying to Miami. We hooking up with Luke, doing records with Luke. We did a track with Yo Gotti before Yo Gotti got big. Pleasure P for Pretty Ricky, Tasha Scott, and the Escape Girl. So we got a lengthy history when it comes to doing this music, and it all started with a dream and a vision, and us doing it, like I said, in the back room, and then we took it from there, and then that's when I realized that, hey, this little nickel and dime hustling you doing out here, it's another way, and I felt like music was that way for me. Music saved me basically, because the time that I spent in music was time that it took me away from the streets, and I'm thankful for that. What inspires me in hip hop is to see the talent that comes in to this business every day. Just when you think you did something in hip hop, there's always an artist that comes from out of nowhere that put their own twist and stamp on it and does something that make you say, damn, why I ain't think of that, So that's what's so innovative, like to see how this thing could constantly just keep going and going and going, and it's always a new way to I guess you would say, reinvent the wheel, Hip hop means everything to me. What inspires me is just the opportunities that it brings, to be able to provide a stream of income that can help change your lives, and not only your life, but your kids' lives and generations to come. It is a business, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. So, with hip hop constantly evolving and changing, I just feel like you have to change with it. You can't stay stuck in one era or one time frame with hip hop. You got to keep evolving as it evolves. What I love about hip hop is the fact that you can express yourself, the freedom of expression. You can be, you can tell your story and get your point across in a way that may not come out on a regular basis. You know, you could have a conversation through music that you may not sit down and have with someone just chopping it up and talking with them. Kind of environment I grew up in, it was mixed cultures. You know, I grew up right off of 15. It's known as Seminole Heights right now, right outside of Ybor City. So our neighborhood consists of, you know, primarily blacks and Latinos. You know, we wasn't the richest. It was, you know, on the low end as far as income perspective goes. And it was, you know, everyone in our neighborhood was like a family, you know. The neighbors knew you, you know, the neighbors could chastise you, and it wasn't gonna be no flack. You know, your parents wasn't gonna say nothing if, you know, Mr. Clem down the street got on your ass because you did something that was out of line, you know. If I could change anything about this industry, it would be the narrative. You know, the direction that music is going in now, where it's so, you know, genocidal, and it's talking about destruction and the killing of our own people. I don't really rock with that. I think that, you know, you can be a dope artist and still make good music and not, you know, not be talking about killing, you know, somebody who got the same skin color as you, you know. And then just to add to that, as far as like the women, you know, there's been raunchy music forever, but I think that the measures and the level that these women have taken hip hop, you know, I think that for black women is degrading is a soft word. It is way beyond degrading, and I think that, you know, these queens could come, it can be a little more creative in their art and really come across, because a lot of them really have talent, but I think that they sell themselves short just for, you know, to get that recognition and to sell that record, you know. The biggest challenge I probably face is being in a market, you know, thriving in a market that is not really known as a music mecca. And when I say music mecca, you know, growing up in the South, Tampa is not a New York, Tampa is not an Atlanta, Tampa is not a Houston, Tampa is not a LA, Tampa is a Tampa. So in order to get some of the recognition that you probably deserve in this industry, you have to find a way to break out of this market, because this is not a market that's really been beneficial to us, you know. A good artist to me is somebody who stands strong on, you know, on them, stay true to themselves, you know. You know, just keeping everything pure, be you, you know. People could see fake and phony a mile away. So, you know, I would always give any artist that advice is, if you're gonna get in that studio, don't go in there and fabricate your story. Tell your story. Your story is your story. The beautiful thing about your story, there may be a million other people out there that can relate to your story, because it's somebody that's going through that same thing. So don't try to be the next man. You can be the best version of you. My story, I'm a guy from just, you know, a city boy that grew up, single parent household, you know, had dreams of, you know, being something other than a hip hop artist. You know, my dreams was to play football, and once those dreams kind of didn't come to fruition, I found another passion that I like, which was music. And you know, I dove in and gave music my all, you know, and I've been blessed to still be around and doing it for as long as I have. So that's my story. Some of the things I've done in my career, I've ghostwrited for other artists, I've produced, I host my own podcast. You know, I've done quite a few things. I have a pretty lengthy resume when it comes to music. I've been doing it for over 20 years, so there's a lot of things that I did, you know, a lot of milestones I would say that I've reached, you know, over that time span. I just gotta. It's a certain it factor that I have about myself. My confidence, for one. You know, when I walk in the room, you're gonna know Remy is in the room. I own that shit, you know, and I'm very confident in what I do. You know, I don't have no, you know, I'm not one to hold my chin down or hold my head down. I'm gonna stand up for what I stand on. You know, my first show experience was at a club in Tampa called Club Atlanta, and I was in a group called Illsboro. Shout out to Illsboro, my brother Drew Jetson and Yomi, and we had Mommy was the first lady of our group, and we performed on stage with Sporty Thieves. It's a group out of New York. I don't know if y'all familiar with them or not, but that was my first show experience, and we ripped it. We ripped it, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that energy, that rush that we got was like no other. You can't. It was crazy. The first time I heard hip hop on the radio was on Staticky WTMP, and then I remember we had a underground station on 88.5. They had the Saturday night with Kenny K, and that's where we heard like all the uncut music from like New York, from wherever, you know. Kenny K, you would just put your tape in, because the show didn't start till like midnight, and it would run to like 3, 4 in the morning. So I would put my cassette tape in, hit record, fall asleep, wake up, the whole tape been recorded, you know what I'm saying? You wake up the next morning and you blown away by all the music you got on there. So that was like my first time, you know, getting exposed to hip hop on radio. So in my question earlier where I said I want artists to stay true to who they are, but in the same breath, I also said, you know, I want them to stop talking about the killing it. And what I mean by that is, if that was your lifestyle and you did that prior to getting in music, your content of what you rap about should change, because you're no longer living that life. You know, so don't steer a generation of kids down this road that you used to live if you made it out of that struggle. You know, it's okay to rap about it, you know, saying that you came from that, but if every record you put out is talking about that and you still talking about it in the present, like you doing this right now, I think that's misleading, you know, and I don't feel like you really expanding on your creativity when you do that, you know. But, you know, who am I? You know, I'm just giving my opinion. You know, if it works for you, that's what it is, but that's how I view the situation. I just think we can get better at that. Just the narrative, you know. Every song don't have to be about, you know, you got the blicky and you finna walk down and kill somebody. You know, it's like, come on, man, we got so much more we can rap about. We can build, man. It's a lot. We got enough of that going on in our communities every day. Like, you know, and believe it or not, these kids are highly influenced by what we rap about. They want to live it. It's life imitating art. You know, this is our art and that is their life. They want to imitate what we rapping about. So I think that we do play a big part in our communities when we have that kind of destruction in our music. What people should know about me is I'm very transparent. You know, you're not going to get me one way on Monday and then on Tuesday I'm a different way. I'm going to always be the same every day. You know, in life we all go through things. We all have obstacles. People have, you know, different things, emotions that they deal with, but me, I'm very transparent. I'm gonna tell you if I don't like something, I'm gonna tell you if I do like something. I feel like that's the best way to be with anybody, and it'll definitely save you any friendship you have, because that honesty is something that, you know, is rare these days, and people appreciate your honesty, you know. What I got coming up, I'm working on, I don't even really like to say my artist because he's like my brother, but we working right now on putting his project out under my label, 15 Entertainment, Drew Jets. So right now we in the studio going hard, and I'm putting the same effort and energy into his project as I did my own. So that's what's the next thing that I have on right now lined up. My end goal is to have a body of work and publishing that I can lead to my daughter and my son and their kids to come. Just to have a legacy, man, to have something that people can listen to 100 years from now and hear what I created, you know, and be able to dive in and say, damn, you know, he was way ahead of his time. Like he was talking about this 100 years ago. You know, that's my legacy, man. Just to leave something behind that they can benefit from. Make sure you go check out No Setbacks and No Setbacks 2.0, which are both of my albums streaming on all platforms, wherever you stream music. You dig? Hey, always, it's just like roulette. Bet on black, black don't crack. Yeah, you know, I'm not one to lay down in the paint. You put your money on me, we gonna win. We all gonna win. If you bet with me, that double the odds. Remy Rowe everywhere. You know, you wherever you go. You know, IG, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. TikTok is Remy Rowe. REMYROE. Shout outs. Of course, I gotta shout out 15 Entertainment. That's the label. I gotta shout out my team. I gotta shout out all my guys that I rock with, from Jew Jets to That's Jesse, to my guy GGM up in Atlanta, to my engineer Kimmy, to all the artists and producers that ever worked on any project with me. Everybody, man. My clothing brand, Superb Clothing and Apparel. My podcast family, Love, Lust, Sex, Music, Trina, Ciroc B, KJ. Shit. Man, I know I'm forgetting somebody, but they're gonna kill me. But yeah, man, anybody that ever helped me or help this brand go forward. My assistant, Nisha. Just the whole team. Everybody who helped move everything that Remy got going forward and put it in a better position than what I can do for myself. You know, I love y'all. What y'all do is priceless, you know. Yeah, my rabbit just died, matter of fact. Shout out to, hey, rest in peace to Drake. Yeah. I had a white rabbit, Drake, man. It was my daughter rabbit, but you know how that go. You end up getting attached to the animal, so yeah.